Hey guys, it's Donna with Resale Tips and Tales, and today I'm bringing you a fun video on how to pay your taxes. Okay, so it's that time of the year, unfortunately, that we have to think about paying Uncle Sam. And my number one rule is if you're gonna make money, you gotta claim it on your taxes. I'm sorry, you may not want to hear that, but even if you think it's just a little hobby, it really isn't. Any money that you're making, you should claim on your taxes. So that's my number one rule. Number two rule is I'm not a tax professional. I'm not an accountant, so I'm really just basing all of this video on my personal experience and from what my little knowledge knows about tax and business. So please consult a tax professional when you're doing your taxes, or a professional accountant, CPA, somebody like that. So don't take all of this as professional advice. So I'm going to try to walk you through some of what I've experienced and some of my opinion on certain things and how I track for taxes every year. Please pardon my cold. I didn't want to wait to do the video because of the time of the year, but I have a head cold, so I apologize for that. I'll try not to sniffle or cough too much throughout the video. So apart from, having to pay taxes and consulting a tax professional, there's a few other tips that I wanted to share with you guys before I get into some advice on your expenses. One of the things is it's easier, at least personally, for me to account for all of my expenses and income as I go throughout the year. So some people will throw all their receipts and stuff into a shoebox or something like that and then wait until January or February of the next year. But I just find that to be way too time consuming. So if you do it as you go along, it won't take as long in the long run. And I feel like you account for it a little bit better. You won't forget certain things or wonder, what did I spend tissue paper? Like, why did I buy that? But as you go along, you can make a note and you know exactly why you spent certain expenses. That brings me to the next point. You want to make sure that you save all of your receipts, okay, or any proof that you need for your expenses, because heaven forbid, if you ever get audited by the IRS, you want to make sure that you have all of those documentations to prove what you spent that you're taking away from your income. So make sure you keep all of those receipts in a safe spot, at least until for a few years in case you get audited. Also, another tip, consider as your business grows using a business software. I've heard QuickBooks is great. I've never personally used it. The one that I use is GoDaddy Bookkeeping. I have just found that has worked for my business. A few years back, I was incorporating Etsy, and I had eBay, and I had Amazon, and I had all these different income sources coming, and I had my own consulting business, and it was just hard for me to track. So GoDaddy is nice because it pulls all those things in from the online business side of things, and then you can also manually input things, income as you go along, your mileage, your all kinds of things you can track, your receipts, you can upload pictures. It just really has worked for me. They also have a really convenient app, at least for the iPhones, that you can use. So again, if you run to the post office and you want to track the mileage, you can put it right there in the app as you do it. So I find that to be really useful. Also, at the end of the year, it will bring everything up for you for your taxes, so you don't have to get all of that together. It's all right there. Now, I do double check my paperwork with what's in GoDaddy because you still want to make sure you're accounting for everything and that there's nothing missed, or maybe like a double entry or something like that. So you still have to be diligent in double checking everything, but it's just a great tool to be used. Another thing is, make sure you're treating your business like a business, okay? So it's not the fun side. The fun side, of course, is hearing your cha-ching on your app and making money, but there's a business side. So make sure you're taking it seriously and treating it like a business so that you are tracking all of your income, making sure you're tracking all of your expenses, all of your mileage, those types of things. It's only gonna be better in the long run for you and also your clients. Another thing I wanted to share with you, I've gotten this question recently, is cost of goods, and how do you account for your inventory on your taxes? The rule of thumb with taxes is you cannot include your cost of goods until it's sold, okay? So how do we calculate that? What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your inventory totals from the end of last year, okay? And then you're gonna add in all of your purchases from the current year, and then you're gonna subtract what you have left in your inventory, and that will give you your COGS, your cost of goods, okay? And I'll try to put the formula here for you. So that way you can only account for your inventory when it's sold in that tax year, okay? Also, a question I've gotten recently is about income. Make sure, especially if you're selling on eBay, that your income includes not only the purchase price that your buyer is paying you, but also any shipping that they're paying you. That is considered income. Now, the shipping costs are going to show up on your expense side, so that's how you factor in your profits or your losses when it comes to shipping costs. But if the buyer is paying you and you're charging them for shipping, those costs need to be put together with what you're earning on the items. Another thing I wanted to share with you guys was a quick expense sheet that my tax professional showed me a few years back, and I thought this was so cool, and I've kept it and I've used it every single year, especially right at the end, so I can kind of put everything together, make sure I didn't miss anything. So it's just a simple little packet that she gave me a few years ago. I'm going to show you, I'm trying to get as close as I can. So it's going to show you your miles driven, so you want to total that here. Now, don't forget, post office counts as mileage. If you're driving to the thrift stores, that counts as mileage. If you're going to Staples to pick up some ink for your printer or paper or labels or whatever, that all counts. So make sure you're including all of that mileage. It adds up very quickly. So if you're not calculating your mileage, start doing it and you'll see how quickly it adds up. Even if it's 4 miles to your post office. If you're doing that every single day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, it adds up really quick. The next thing on here is liability insurance. So if you have liability insurance for your business, you can deduct that here. Also office supplies. So if you're buying staples or, like I said, labels or printer paper, tape, any of that kind of stuff, you can put that there. You can also put tape under shipping expenses. It depends on what you're using the tape for. Excuse me, advertising costs. So if you buy this as business cards or if you use certain special tools on eBay to do any advertising, then you can deduct that there. Hotel expenses. This is helpful for me because I also do consulting. So last year when I was out of state, I was traveling in state and I had hotel expenses. So I would put that on there. Any meals with clients. Now, just because you go out with your eBay buddy, unless you're talking about eBay, it doesn't count. But if you are strategizing about your day, about the yard sales or about your estate sales, I think you can count that as meals with clients. Just don't abuse it. Here you have personal meals if you're in business overnight. So let's say you go to a conference about your online business, or you go to the eBay festival, or you go to the Poshmark festival every year. You can count your evening meals if you have to stay overnight. Or any meals, even lunch, so it just depends on how many days it is. Legal and professional fees. I'm a member of some national organizations for one of my licenses that I hold, so I deduct that there. If you have any other specialties that you have professional fees in, you can deduct that. Any other miscellaneous supplies is the next thing on there. I'll get a little closer to help you out there. Office expenses, this says paper and things like that. I'm not quite sure the difference between office supplies and office expenses, so I'm not sure on that one, sorry. Internet. So if you do your work on a computer and your internet at home, and we're going to talk about home deductions here in a minute, but you can deduct a portion of your internet costs as your taxes. Any catalogs, display items that you have to purchase, so your mannequins, your backdrops, even your lighting kits, any of that kind of stuff could go there. Refreshments at parties. So if some of you are big eBay leaders in the industry and you have parties with all your eBay friends or with your Poshmark friends, you can deduct the refreshments at your party and things like that and supplies that you used on your party. Shipping expenses, so that's where you would put your shipping costs. So that's where I was talking about a minute ago. However much it costs you to ship, you would put that there. Gifts to customers and hostesses, sometimes with the Poshmark, if you're throwing in like a special gift with each purchase or a special pencil I've seen on some things or stickers or something like that, you could put that in there. The next thing is telephone expenses. So most of us have cell phones nowadays, but if you have a home line as well, that would work there. Now it says here, if you don't have a dedicated line, you must determine each month the percentage of how much was personal calls and how much was business calls. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're breaking out what actually your telephone usage is for your business. And honestly, with eBay or anything like that, there's not a lot of phone calls. Maybe if you're calling support center or something like that, you could deduct it. There's another one on here for postage, so I'm not quite sure the huge difference between shipping expenses and postage. But again, it's just to make sure that you're checking, that you're accounting for everything. I apologize if you hear my daughter in the background. She's playing, so bear with me. Let's see, initial startup fees. So let's say you have to buy into a business or something like that. You could deduct that. Next page It's just a miscellaneous list. So other things, you're not sure what categories they might go into until you go talk to your accounting professional. Another line for membership fees can go there as well. So in one of those lines, you want to account for your store fees for eBay if you have a store. So whatever level you might be, make sure you're deducting those fees for your store. Okay, so the next part of this is your deductions for your home. Yes, you can deduct some of the things from your home that are used exclusively for your business. So this kind of walks you through. First, you're going to put the totals, and then you're going to figure out the percentage. So you're going to write down your mortgage interest, your real estate taxes, rent if you don't own, electric, heating, gas, homeowners or renters insurance. And then here it says if you see clients or customers in your home, then you may deduct water and sewer, I guess if they have to use the bathroom. So if you do consignment and people have to come into your home and you have some sort of business that way, then make sure you add those things in. And then you're going to take the total square footage of your home, total square foot of the office space used exclusively as an office, so it can't be used for other things. Then the total square footage of garage space if used exclusively for storage only, or your basement, or if you have a dedicated room in your house that you use inventory storage. So just kind of think outside the box when it comes to this, but be honest as well. And then it says, of course, any other expenses that you can break down into categories. So if you have other areas that you're not sure what category goes into, please ask your accountant, not a tax professional. So anyway, so you're basically going to figure out how much of your square footage you're using for your actual business compared to the square footage of your home. And that's what you can deduct in terms of your utility bills, mortgage interest, and things like that. So hopefully that made sense a little bit. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I'll try my hardest. But again, make sure you consult your tax consultant. I'm just sharing you some of the tools that are working for me. Now, in terms of my daily inventory records, I'm hoping to figure out how I can show you guys the spreadsheet that I use and how I break down, how I account for all of my income, how I account for my expenses. I'm very detailed when it comes to that. Some people probably think that's too much and just want to do an overview, but I like to know my profit margins. I like to know specifically on each item that I sell, how much money I'm making on that item and whether I broke even on it, whether it was a good purchase, whether I should still buy those types of things. So I'm very deep when I do analysis on things. So if that's too much for you, then you don't have to watch that video. But I'm still trying to figure out on my computer how to show you that step by step. But I did print out some worksheets that I thought I could just briefly show you guys what I account for. This is my expense tracker, and this is just a generic one. I think it even says 2017 on it, but it still works for what I'm trying to show you. So here underneath each of the months I have listed here, I write in the item that I sold. So that would go here. And then I write how much I paid for it, because when I bring inventory into my house, I account for how much I paid for each individual item. So I bring that up here. And then I write down what it's sold for. I also write any type of eBay fees. So let's say I paid for extra pictures or it cost me money to list it. I would put that there. I also have a shipping fee. So this is the one that comes from eBay that they charge. PayPal fee, which is the 2.9% plus the 30 cents. I have a formula in my Excel spreadsheet for that. Same with the eBay and shipping fees. eBay charges the 10% or 9% depending on your discount and your levels. Also, I have on here shipment paid, so how much the buyer paid me for shipping. If it's 0, I put 0. And then also how much it costs to ship the item. And then I have my profit. So I add all those lines up and it'll show me what the profit is. And now I've even added a percentage line. I don't have it on here, but I have a percent profit. So I try to hover around 50% for most of my items that I purchase, profit margin. And this is just any type, like when I purchased it. So sometimes I know if it's been 2 years since I bought something, or if it was a quick flip, I like to know that. And then also I have a note section here that shows me, you know, I don't know, any type of weird thing, if it has damage on it or where it went. Sometimes if it's an international sale, just for fun, I'll write it in the notes section. I don't know, just a good way for me to track my own business. And then I also have what I call my P&L sheet, which looks like this. So here I have each month listed, and then I pull over from my other spreadsheet the totals. So there's a way to set up formulas that I wish I could show you, but I'm just trying to figure that out. Hold on 1 second, sweetie. So it'll show you my total incomes for January, my total list fees, my total eBay fees, shipping fees, PayPal fees, shipping paid by the customer, shipping costs. And then I have a separate spreadsheet that I keep track of all of my inventory expenses, supply expenses, and then I also deduct my shop fee. for each month. Now this has gone up a little bit. It's not $24.95 anymore for the basic store. And then it'll show me my monthly profit. Sorry, I got the light there. And then at the end of the year, it'll tally all the way at the bottom here what my totals were for the year and how much I sold, what my expenses were, and what my profit was for the entire year. So if you really want to get detailed into this, stay tuned for another video that hopefully I can figure out. If you have ideas in the comments on how I can do a video off of my computer to show the spreadsheet, that would be awesome for recommendations on that, because I'm kind of new to doing that. So, but I thought I'd just briefly quickly show you how I do that. So anyway, so I know it sounds like a lot, and if you're a newbie, don't feel overwhelmed by it, because this honestly has grown over the few years that I've been doing the business. So in each year I kind of added something new. So do what works for you. Just realize that if you are doing an online business, you still have to account for the money and the expenses in whatever way you find, and make sure you talk to your tax professional. All right, that's all I can think of to share for today. If you have questions, please leave comments below. I'm more than happy to try my best to answer them. Or if you have comments or suggestions for us also, I would love to hear that. I love to hear tips as well.
Bye.
Kyla wants to say hi.
Bye.
Also, make sure you like the videos, comment, and share with your friends. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Happy thrifting.
Happy thrifting.